again. Surprisingly.
What do you...
Or unsurprisingly, I don't know.
We're back again on it's Wednesday when we're recording this. Normally we
Yep.
record on like a Thursday, Friday.
Yep, but it's Easter. So
Yeah. What are
that's
you
not
doing
gonna-
for Easter, Ren?
I was doing some stuff. Eating hot cross buns, most likely.
Yeah. I don't know.
At some
what I'm
point,
doing.
they'll come up. Somebody will give me one at some point.
Chocolate hot cross buns are amazing.
They
I
are
think.
quite nice.
Yeah, I'm really surprised because I don't actually like normal hot cross buns.
Anyway, what did we watch?
We watched
this?
Annihilation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama behind this film.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So, I don't know how much you know.
I had a
about-
bit of a look today
Yeah.
after I'd seen it.
So pretty much, there's two producers. One is the guy who produced. I cannot remember.
I know there's one at Universal. Like one was a purely financial producer and one was a more hands-on, I think, from what I heard. And I think the one that didn't have the final cut had a problem with it.
The important thing is what the producers were known for, because one of them produced really shitty films and the other one produced really good films.
Yep.
And they were the ones who had a bit of a clash.
Yep. Because they had it was a distribution question.
Yeah, so Scott Rudin,
Mm-hmm.
who did Social Network, Lady Bird, and then on the other side was David Ellison, who did Terminator and Geostorm. That speaks.
Are we talking about Terminator Genesis?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So the guy who did Terminator Genesis and Geostorm
Yep.
is afraid that the film was too intelligent.
Yeah, because he doesn't make intelligent films.
Well, yeah, because I was reading not that article, I just quickly looked up, but I was reading the original article and I was like, just look at the films they've produced that speaks mountains about the type of films they want.
But
why would you put two directors like that together? Not
the
directors, but
producers.
yeah.
Alex Garland's been around for a while as a director. Mostly as a writer. He was like one of the writers for Dread and a bunch of other films. And
Yeah. The film is like
novels.
super experimental.
I wouldn't say it's super experimental. I've seen films that are way more experimental.
I know, but like
about
I think
similar things.
for mainstream audiences,
Sure.
yeah, like
It
especially
only gets that way in the last
30 minutes,
half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think,
Before then, it feels like just a very well made science fiction thriller sort of film. Like it's not.
well, there was
it's not unlike Alien up till that point. Where
it was
it's like-
supposed to be more, but then
I've read what the ending initially was in
yeah,
the script,
yeah, and then they had to change.
but I don't
it.
think they shot that.
No, so
Because I think they changed that from the start. The issue with the producers was a distribution issue. It wasn't.
oh really?
It wasn't about changing the film. Like
Yeah,
they were one of them wanted to change the film, but he didn't have final cut. The one who does all the good films had the final cut, and he left it the way Alex Garland wanted
yeah,
it. But they basically went, but distribution wise, we're probably not going to make a lot of money still. So I think it was the US and I think one other place, I can't even remember where it was, distribution was going to be handled by Universal. The rest was going to be handled by Netflix. Everywhere else.
yeah. Oh,
And
it's
it was
only in
gonna be
America.
like-
It's only in America that they're playing it in cinemas.
There's one other place, and I can't remember.
Canada.
Yeah, it might be.
Canada?
Might be Canada.
It makes
I can't
sense if
quite
it's
remember,
around there.
But yeah, from what I was reading, it was a distribution thing, and they decided it was better to release it on Netflix everywhere else about probably a bit over 2 weeks after it came out in the States.
I feel like it would have been a better experience if I got to see it on the big screen, though. 'cause
Sure.
It's visually quite nice. Well, at least
Sure.
I think it is.
I think so. I don't know, it was weird because when the Netflix trailer came out, everybody was sharing it.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things, it's like, oh, there's this interesting looking movie coming out, and it's like, oh, and I can watch it at home in 2 weeks or something like it. I
That's
don't have
true.
to pay any extra for it
That's
or anything like
true,
that.
yeah.
I just get it, and I can watch it any
Yeah.
time, which is fine. It's probably the best thing that's come out like that so far.
Well, so what's the film about?
What's the film about?
What's the film? We should get
It's
to
got a
that.
very alienish plot.
So there's
Well, it's
Natalie Portman, who's
Natalie
Lena.
Portman. Oscar Isaac, who's
as
Kane.
Oscar Isaac is such a snack.
Anyway, and Jennifer Jason Leigh as, I can't remember her name. She's a psychologist.
Oh, Oh,
Ventress.
Ventress, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Empress, but not
Yeah.
Empress. Ventress, yeah.
So,
and
yes.
there's a so Lena
Yeah,
is a
Lena.
marine biologist.
No, she's a biologist who used to be in the army.
I'm thinking of two separate things.
Yeah.
A biologist used to be in the army. Kane used to be...
She now is at Johns Hopkins University.
Yeah. And
as
then
a professor.
Kane is also...
Kane is still in the military
Yeah.
at the time of the
Yeah.
film. And at the start of the film, you understand that he's not home. Something happened to him.
While
and then
he was
she's
out and about.
Yeah, and then when she goes to paint the house or
He just
the room, he just
randomly
turns up,
appears.
and there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is because the film starts off with her getting interviewed with everybody else in hazmat suits in a completely, isolated and
area.
quarantined room.
Yeah.
And her answers to questions are very similar to his when she's talking to him in their house. And so it gives you this kind of like...
It's like, I don't know.
Like what... They've both
same-
seen something
yeah.
and they both end up like this,
Yeah.
in a way.
Well, there's the... Oh God, I wanted to flip my table when my friend told me about this. So she was like... I don't want to say she's not my friend because obviously we know each other. We're like mutuals. Let's just call her my mutual. So we were sitting around the table, me, this girl, a bunch of other friendly friends, and we're talking about this film. And one of my closest friends, she was just like, "Oh my God, I really loved it," blah blah blah. And then this other girl was just like, "Oh my God, so much symbolism." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "Oh well, when they hold hands at the beginning and it's seen through the little cup of water and it's reflected."
Yeah.
It's like the idea
The
of
refraction,
like, the
yeah.
refraction. She told me this. I literally was like, "Oh, fuck off, fuck off." And then, but like, it's like, and then I read some reviews and it's like symbolism, and I'm like, "Fuck off, what?"
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
And it's pretty well done.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not corny.
it's not corny.
When
crap.
you watch it, you're like, "Oh God, he's wearing a darker jacket because he's doing something bad.
Yeah.
He's wearing a lighter jacket because
It's
he's
not
become
anything
good."
that obvious because there's
No.
no like good or bad sort of thing in this.
There's
it's not about
only-
evil or
Yeah.
anything like that. It's just about what's happening.
Yeah.
And so basically, the husband comes home. There's something really wrong
Goes
with
into
him.
like organ failure, multiple hemorrhages.
Like he drinks a cup of water and there's blood in it after
And
he's
he's
done
like,
with
"I
it.
don't feel very good."
Yeah.
Well, fuck shit, man. Of course you're not gonna feel pretty
Yeah.
good.
So they end up in the ambulance, and then they get pulled over by a bunch of black cars, and she gets knocked out and wakes up in a room.
Yeah, she's like hungover
Yeah, pretty
from
much.
drugs.
But she learns that there's, and we do see the meteorite at the start of the film hit the lighthouse, which is
The
kind of gives you
central-
this vague idea of what it is, but
Yeah.
not really. You just know something hit the lighthouse, and you're not quite sure.
Yeah.
So she's in a facility near this swampland place. It's slowly being taken over by this thing called the Shimmer. That's what they call it. It's just odd.
Apparently,
like-
with the book it's based off, it's called Area X.
Mhm.
They made it the Shimmer for.
well, it's called
visual reasons.
Area X in the film as well.
Yeah, but like they don't give it the nickname the Shimmer, in the book. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, which is fine.
Mm.
And so basically, she ends up because her husband went in there in his last mission, and he's the only person to ever come out, and there's something wrong with him. She decides to go in
Yeah.
because the assumption is that she thinks he's going to die,
Yeah.
pretty much. So she's like, "Well, I don't really care if I do,"
Yeah.
And then she sort of finds out that the team she goes with, which are another 4 women, 3, 4.
Still a better film than Ghostbusters.
That's exactly the thing.
Yeah.
They only want women to star in all these movies if they're dumb, apparently. And then Annihilation, nobody thinks about like that.
Yeah.
They just...
But
anyway,
so they go in.
they go in and then stuff gets weird. Like
they wake up a few days later
and they
no memories.
don't remember stuff, and then they're checking their stuff and nothing.
Yeah,
comes
there's a
in
lot
and
of
out
like
and-
So initially, it's like a lot of you think it's just animal DNA getting and plant DNA getting fucked up. I don't want to say fucked up, but
well, it's like everything's really growing
Yeah.
in this environment. Like
Yeah.
outside, it's kind of normal, but inside, it's really everything's overgrown and
yeah,
really flourishing.
yeah. But like she sees like initially like plants with like
Yeah.
different DNA all grown from the same
multiple-
stem.
Multiple types of flowers all growing on the same vine.
Yeah,
And stuff
crocodile
like that,
with
and-
shark teeth.
Yeah, crocodile turns up,
Some-
tries to eat one of them, and
Yeah.
they shoot it to death, and then it's got shark teeth, which is odd.
Yeah. Although, where are you going to find it? Oh, wait, then they're right next to the ocean. Never mind.
Yeah.
So they go along, and then they get to this camp
So
housing area.
they've got the old HQ, which is nearby, and they go to the mess hall, and that was one of the creepiest moments of the film.
I actually was like, "What's happening?" Oh, God! But like, I can't. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I could not look. I was like, "Oh God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" Okay, and then my boyfriend kind of walks in. He's like, "No," just like walks back out. He came through a few times during the film, and every time he came in, he's just like, "What the fuck?" And then we're just like, "What's happening?" And I'm like, "You cannot ask me what's happening because you have not watched from the fucking beginning." But like, he walked in that scene, he's like, "No," just. But I was sitting there. It was like, I think I started watching this movie at like 11, so by that point it was almost midnight. Midnight, watching these 4 women or 4 or 5 women. Is it 5 or
5?
It's 5. The 5 women watching this camera, watching Oscar Isaac, who I, for the life of me, cannot get Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot get, you know, when some actors act a certain character and you see them for the first time as that character, and everything after that is just no.
Yeah.
I was like, Poe, stop it! Like, literally, like, stop. Star Wars is not like this. This is not very kosher. Yeah. And he's like, so
but basically, it's when it starts to get more
weird.
Intense. Like it starts. You start to understand that it's more than just animals and more than just plants and stuff.
So the camera guy is filming Kane.
Well, basically, they've left it behind for them, saying, you know, for the
those
next
who continue,
people, for those who are after
who follow,
us, and put it in the camera SD card and watch what's on it, and it's Oscar Isaac with one of the other soldiers cutting him open, and then you watch his intestines move around like a snake.
Yeah, and it's like, the fuck? And for a minute, I was like, for a minute, I kind of was like, no, your intestines do not move like that.
No.
They do not move like that. And he's like...
They're slithering around.
But he's doing it, he's just like, this is totally okay, guys. I'm just cutting this guy open. Whatever, man.
It's like, hey, look. Clearly something wrong with all of them.
Yeah, like, they're losing...
Their minds.
And
they don't even seem to... It's like he's showing the camera to make sure it's real.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even believe it.
Yeah, so he's just like... going like, oh, hey, look, you'll be all right, mate, no problem. Like, it's like a bit of a dream world, which Leonard's character, or Natalie Portman's character, Leonard, does describe it. It's like, it's very dreamlike.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what's real, what isn't.
But. Yeah. So, like...
But that's what I mean.
You just cannot look away.
That's what I mean by, like, the first hour is very Alien, because a lot of Alien, the first one specifically, is them walking through places and
cutting open.
There's just weird shit everywhere. Yeah. There's like eggs, and then there's these like enormous people who are like in these machines, but they're dead. Yeah, and they don't know what they are or where they've come from, and these ugly looking spaceship sort of things, and then one of them gets a face over to the face. Yeah, and then it all goes to shit. And this is like when it starts in that film, but. You know, it goes on from there. I don't know whether we should get into spoilers just yet, but just talk about the filmmaking or something that's more... Yeah. It's, I think it's really well done. Yeah. It's very subtle to begin with. It doesn't... It's not like... I don't think you'd miss anything, though, at the same time.
I cannot watch that film again. I was thinking to myself, like, I should rewatch it, kind of get to know it a bit better, and I could not bring myself to watch it because
I'd watch it again.
Not because, like, it's not like a bad film. Like, obviously we both agree it's a good film. It's just one of those things, it's like, I just don't think I can live, because the whole time I was just, like, holding, like, my sofa, just like, no. What the fuck? Like, and we've discussed this 400 times already, but you know me, I'm either in it or I'm not. And I was very much in it. And afterwards, I was like, I need to go have a cup of tea now and eat some chocolate biscuits and cuddle my cats because I cannot. Like, it was just a little bit too much. I sound like a kid. I was a bit oversensitized. I mean, I was a bit oversensitive.
No, oversensitive.
Oversensitive.
But the
overstimulated. That sounds wrong.
The last half an hour to 45 minutes felt a bit like Under the Skin, Scarlett Johansson.
I was gonna say it was very
and that's not to that degree, because that film is what I describe as too smart for some people. Like, it's because it doesn't really tell you anything directly.
No, it just shows you things and then it unfolds, and then it's kind of, it's not just what you make of it, but there's a lot Of
that
interpretation.
you can interpret out of it. There's a bit to interpret out of the
Yeah.
ending of this, but
Yeah.
not as much as that. But yeah,
I looked into the interpretation of the film and because I'm like, obviously it's experimental in some ways. So a lot of it talks about self-destruction that's built into humans. So like the idea, I forgot to mention this, but Lena was having an affair. Every time Kana went away, she would have an affair with one of her colleagues.
Yep.
And so there's this moment where her and Ventress were talking and she finds out Ventress is terminally ill and all that stuff. And Ventress is like, oh, well, that girl, she's a drug addict. And that girl, she's got mental illness. And she's like, clearly you've got something going on. Like, reason why. Because she's like, this is a suicide mission.
Yeah.
All of us here really don't have anything else to lose. And then, Lena's like, well, I owe him, as in I had an affair. And he's now dying because I didn't. Well, not because of her, but like
she doesn't explain that.
Yeah, but she just obviously says I owe him.
That's what I liked about it. It wasn't like she went on a long speech when I owe him because I cheated on him. Or I feel so bad. It's just like she just says I owe him and that's it. And you get it.
And you get a weird, uncomfortable, naked flashback. That's fine.
Yeah, that's it. And then that's not the last time you see it either, because there's more to it than that as well. Because she basically has because you know how like the Ventress also basically says we self-destruct ourselves like knowingly, and that's when you see it with her, because she talks to him immediately after it's over and she's just like, no, this is a mistake. I don't even like you. Like
I don't even like you.
Yeah. And then he's even just like, she's like, oh, and you also have a wife, and he's just like, oh, but I love my wife, and you're like,
huh?
Why are you doing this then?
But I had a chat about this to someone, and I was just like, not like it talks about self-destruction, but I think it also talks about like, I'm not sure if you read The Crucible.
Yeah, ages ago.
Book ages ago. Yeah, so it talks when we blah 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 words, habita. But when I read it, we talked about like hysteria and the breaking down of society, and obviously like it's the idea of when they go into this prism or the shimmer. That's it. Like, there's no more real society structures because they can do whatever they want. They can I think that's why like they were saying like Kane and his crew kind of started losing their minds because there was really nothing.
But I mean, the reason why there's no structure is because anything structure of even nature goes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. It's like the breaking down of not only DNA but light.
Light, and the light's different. The weather's
just
different.
Everything's different.
The way that they see time is different, and even their bodies change.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the extent of
and so it's like mass hysteria kind of sets, which is what happens soon after.
Well, it's almost like cabin fever, but
it's
just because it's just the five of them.
Yeah,
but they're stuck. They can't even get their like compasses to work because they don't even work. The radios don't work. Nothing works. No, nothing is functional like they're used to.
Yeah, everything is different. So like, can I go on with the film? Like, pretty much now, they keep going. And one of the ladies, Shepherd, I just know her name is Shepherd. She gets dragged away by that.
Yes,
weird.
She gets picked up by basically like a bear thing.
It's terrifying because it's got like.
It's got a weird, messed up face that's like a skull kind of. And it's huge, and it picks her up and takes her away. Which is actually one of the moments where the symbolism and the storytelling work the most. Because after she's taken away, Natalie Portman's following her later on. Trying to find out where she went. What happened to her.
And then she
sees a little like deer thing. And then another one joins it, and then they run off. Which is basically like, because her big thing was that her daughter died. And like she was pretty much expecting to die on this mission, so she'd rejoin her. And then there's like these two little white deer, and it tells you that she's dead before you see her body, pretty much. And you see her body. And then she's also the other freaky part of it is because of all the DNA swaps and stuff like that, is that her voice ends up in the bear. Like
it's fucking terrifying.
That was creepy.
That was
so
she finds the corpse, goes back. Let's go on. She decides not to tell anyone anything. She just goes, I can't find anything. I think.
No, she says she's dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking of something else then. And then they find another area to set up camp. And one of the girls pretty much says, she realizes it's a prism because they see all these plants growing in the shape of humans.
Yes.
And they're like, if you were to look at that under a microscope, you would find human DNA or human Hox cells.
The structure of the human body.
Yeah.
You'd find those genes in the plants. That's why they grow the way they do.
Yeah. So then later that night, Natalie Portman takes a bit of her blood and checks her blood, and she realizes that her DNA's
compromised.
Yeah. Compromise is pretty much the anyway.
It's all colourful like a rainbow.
Yeah. So she's like, and I think this is where it starts to get really, really weird. So that's where like
I like the way it went because the way that he did that scene is that she's sitting at the table. She pricks her arm to get some blood out. She looks at it, then she sort of gasps when she finds out. And then the camera draws back, and then it cuts to Oscar Isaac in the kitchen, like he was with the drink and everything. And that was just because you're starting to. It pretty much is telling you that she's going to end up like him.
Yeah, it's starting to kind of be like, oh, hey, 1 + 1 is X amount. It's 2. Anyway, so then she goes to sleep, and you find that one of the other lady, the girl who was an ex-drug addict. I don't know why I said addict like that. Drug addict.
I thought all of their deaths were kind of appropriate for each character.
Yeah. Well, I thought all of them kind
Spoilers, everybody knows.
Yeah,
except for
Natalie Portman.
Kind of.
Does she die? Does she live? Is she really Natalie Portman?
Yeah.
So she, like, that girl kind of goes full on into her. She starts really losing her mind. The other girl kind of. So she pretty much threatens to kill all of them because she finds out Natalie Portman's lying because Natalie Portman refrained from telling people that Kane was her husband. So she tries to kill all of them, and she's like saying, "Oh my god, I can see my hand moving, like the DNA, my fingerprints moving. If you cut me open, my insides be moving like that." So she's losing. She's really losing her grip on reality.
Did they mention what drug she was addicted to, or did they just say she was
probably LSD?
No, because I'm thinking like. So one of the things of heroin is like you think that there's things under your skin and you scratch.
I think that's
stuff like that.
I think that's it. Might be speed.
Of where you
is speed heroin? I don't know what. I don't know anything about drugs.
I thought that was kind of like
refs
that like she got really paranoid, like a drug addict coming down off something, and then it's like she hears the other girl's voice. It's almost like a hallucination. And then she runs off.
The bear, and then they kill the bear.
Yeah.
And then the second girl, the girl who discovered that the whole area was a prison,
the physicist who's self-harms.
Yeah. She kind of was just like, I don't want to fight this. Like, I don't want a painful, fearful death. That's exactly
the sort of person.
Yeah. But, you have, like, the pacifist, you have the realist. Like, because I think Shepard was, like, very logical, very reasonable. She was just a bit like, this is just what it is. I know I'm going to die.
And then she just gets snatched away.
Yeah. And then like, obviously the girl who was a drug addict, she was
she just gets paranoid. She's
she's
paranoid, starts to get aggressive, and then she dies. Then the physicist who self-harms starts literally growing like leaves, a tree and leaves out of her arms where she would be self-harming, and then disappears.
And you just assume
she's one of the trees that that Natalie Portman sees, and then the Ventress walks into the heart of it all.
Yeah, so Ventress pretty much is like, fuck you all, I'm going to go to this lighthouse whether you fucking like it or not.
Because it's like, for her, it's just like, well,
I'm going to die.
I'm terminal anyway, so who cares? Yeah. I'll just walk straight in.
So she kind of leaves everyone behind, and then now, after the death of the two other girls, Natalie Portman kind of follows suit. And this is where it gets weird. Like, this is where it gets kind of like funky.
Natalie Portman arrives at the beach, and there's like glass trees.
Yeah.
Which is, if you burn sand hot enough, you make glass. And, stuff like that on the beach, and then she finds the lighthouse, goes inside, and there's a hole where the meteorite came through.
Yeah,
goes inside,
and then there's this like weird blackened.
Yeah, there's a blackened corpse on one side, like it's been burnt, and a camera, and she checks it, and it's Oscar Isaac on the ground. Now, what I found interesting about this, and this is what there's no other part in the film where he sounds like he's from the South.
Does he sound like from me? Okay.
To me, he sounded like that in the video.
I had to turn down the volume because I got too scared. I was like, no.
No, because this is my thing. Because there is some ambiguity in the ending as to him and Natalie Portman as well. Because she kind of lies in the interview as well a few times. And so she's not entirely reliable in narrating this story. So there must be, in my mind, a reason why he doesn't sound like he does in the rest of the film in that shot, even before he leaves.
Yeah.
And my thing is, like, we get given this whole thing with the bear having the other woman's voice.
Oh, so he
It's like,
could have
does he
taken
have one of the other
someone's
soldiers' voice? Because
I
it's
never thought
crossed
of
over.
that.
And that's what I thought. Because that means to me that he's the real Kane, and he
Yeah.
blows himself up, and the alien takes his place.
Wow. Or the alien.
Or the
Could've-
other way around.
Yeah, because it could have been two of them, and the alien
No,
stopped.
that's what you're not sure about. 'Cause I assume that
You don't.
it
Okay,
was-
so what happens is there's Oscar Isaac Kane sitting
Mhm.
in front of the camera talking. He's saying all this stuff about like I used to
I used to
a
think I
man.
was Kane.
Yeah.
I used to think I was a man. Blah,
I
blah,
mean,
blah.
guess that's you now, and then he pulls off
White phosphorus grenade.
yeah,
which
and then-
will burn you to death.
yeah,
easily.
and then some figure walks to the front, and you assume
it's-
they're
and
operating
it's
a
the-
camera.
And it's the Oscar Isaac that we see.
Yeah. And then, so
Outside.
Natalie Portman's character's like, what the fucking? I'm what the fucking. I'm pretty sure my cats are what the fucking. And I'm like, oh, girl, this
Yeah.
shit is like legit. So Natalie Portman then goes down into the hole and she finds Ventress.
Mm-hmm. Ventress is saying a bunch of stuff now. I was reading that what she was quoting is from a book, but I don't know what the book is called. I can't remember.
And then she like explodes into a billion stars.
Yeah,
She
basically.
she looks like a freaking what's it called? Thing in space where not a black hole.
like the Milky Way kind of
No,
thing, like a
like-
galaxy.
No, like an explosion when a star
Oh,
yeah.
supernova.
A supernova, yes.
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
kind of does that,
Yeah.
and then explodes into a million pieces, and then
Yeah.
a bit of blood comes out of Natalie Portman and mixes with it
Yeah.
and multiplies, and then turns into a person.
Like a weird,
But like a weird,
metallic-y
kind of metallic-y, prism-y
person.
person. Doesn't have a face or any sort of...
But it starts to mimic like
Yeah,
Natalie Portman's
but she gets
movement.
upstairs and it's there as well.
Yeah.
And it's moved somehow, and then it's doing everything that she's doing.
Yeah.
Exactly, mirroring her.
Yeah.
To the point where she almost can't get out
Yeah.
because it's doing exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, because she goes to run for the door and then the figure follows but crushes her
Yeah,
against it.
but it's exactly like her. It's doing
Yeah.
all the same things.
Yeah, and she's like, she
can't
can't
get out.
move because that figure's doing
But
this.
then she starts to kind of work it out.
Yeah, so
Because
then
it's mirroring, she can sort of control it as well. And then,
Yeah.
and then eventually it turns into
Into
her,
her.
exactly.
yeah,
And so she gives it the grenade
yeah,
and runs, and it explodes and burns.
everything burns.
And then basically it burns off her shell,
Yeah,
and it's back to its normal self.
Yeah.
But then it touches like this weird, like fungus web that's all over the
yeah. There's a lot of
lighthouse.
that type of. It's kind of like the cancerous growth,
Yeah, and it burns the
Everything.
whole lighthouse, and the prism,
and then you're
the shimmer disappears.
back to the start of the film.
Yeah, and you're back to the start of the film with her
Mhm.
and the interviewer.
Yeah, and then so the guy's like, oh, Kane's doing better.
Mhm.
As soon as the place disappeared, his vitals picked up.
Yeah,
his
he
bleeding
was
stopped.
fine. Yep.
This went fine. So then she goes to see him,
Mhm.
and but she obviously she knows what happened.
Yeah,
So she's there, and she's just like, "Are you Kane?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "I don't know.
and it's like I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not entirely sure." Because it's kind of like the alien doesn't even know.
Hmm.
Or he's like, the Kane, because he's been
Yeah.
through so much, he's like, his mind's so fucked up. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't fucking know. Anyway, so then they hug, and then this is where it gets weird, with both their eyes glow.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of, is she
The
an
end
alien?
of the film.
Is
End
he
of
an
the film.
alien? He's definitely, you're kind of convinced he's definitely an alien, but at
Hmm.
this point,
I assume he is, but don't
you
know.
never know. But the thing is, the film originally, what I heard was that the script was made so that the two she would meet her metallic-y figure friend.
And there was a bit more ambiguity as to which one survived.
Yeah, as in like you just see them like doing the interpretive. I don't want to say interpretive dance, but it's kind of something like that. And then
There's a bit of a conflict, and then I think from what I hear, it's
she
just
walks away and
cuts,
it's burning.
it cuts out
Yeah.
and it's burning.
yeah, and then
That's it.
there's some Natalie Portman's walking away, but you don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
But
And then at the end, they hug, and I think it's in a different setting
yeah.
because you see multiple meteorites falling out of the sky, apparently.
I
So
would have
that's-
preferred that. I would have really much enjoyed that. But
I don't know,
I don't mind
because
this one.
I like the bit inside the lighthouse as well,
Mm,
when she's actually confronted with it and all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
The thing is, the question in this version is not so much whether it's the alien or not, but whether she is it anyway
Yeah.
because of what it's done to her.
Yeah.
Because it's a
So, like,
question of,
are they fucked up or are they not,
but
like,
it's
human?
like is she alien anyway? Because now what she isn't normal.
Human. Because she's got that rainbow.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, because there's stuff wrong with her.
Yeah.
It's not the same. So it's, that sort of stuff is interesting. I did see somebody ask the question, what do the aliens want? And I was going, I don't care.
Annihilation.
Who cares? No, but does it matter?
I heard that the theory behind it, the supposedly continuation, if you were to continue on, was that
so they just replace humanity.
Yeah, they're put there to annihilate humanity, and the aliens are technically in control of them because of the way they've been affected by the shimmer.
The problem is that the aliens then, I assume, don't necessarily know they're aliens.
Yeah,
either.
Because they're just mirrors.
So the thing is that I'm looking at them going, okay, so this thing happens. But my point is that people want to know what they want, and I don't care what they want because it just makes them more alien.
Yeah.
If you don't really know, they may not want anything. It doesn't really matter what they want.
Yeah.
It's just that this happens.
Yeah.
And it's anything more than that, I don't think matters a whole lot.
I think that's the problem with films like this, because people are always going to be like, well, what about this, what about that? And I'm like,
I don't mind people asking the questions.
I know, but it's just one of those things. Is
I have a problem with people asking that question and thinking it's a fault in the story.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it is.
No, I think the whole point is it's open to your interpretation.
It's like if you actually look at Under the Skin, that the most obvious interpretation means that the film is a really basic story, which is aliens just harvest humans, and that's it. That's exactly what it is.
The unrealistic part of a movie is that you're not always going to get an explanation for everything, and you're right.
You don't get a realistic explanation with things in life
general,
necessarily.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't. Yeah. So then, the whole point of this film is that happened. There really is nothing else to it. It's
the
just
tone
what
and
happened.
the mystery about this film wouldn't be improved by everything being explained at the end. It's way better if there's a bit left up to you.
Yeah. Well, that's what an experimental film does.
I still wouldn't call this experimental though, because it's still got a structure that works.
Yeah,
it's just the ending's just unusual. That's all.
I think in terms of themes, it's a bit more experimental because.
So it's I think it follows a lot of beats of Alien and stuff like that, of people getting killed off by a monster.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say this is a mainstream film. I say there is elements to it.
No, I'd say the ending makes the difference, and what I mean is Alien ends up with a extended confrontation between one woman and this alien, and she eventually flushes it out of the ship.
I thought you were going to say she flashes herself, and I'm like, excuse me.
She kind of does actually.
Oh, really?
But it ends with her in an escape pod, and then it's still with her.
Oh, great!
And she has to get into it. That's why she flashes. She has to get into a spacesuit, and then she opens the door and shoots it with a harpoon gun kind of thing, and it flies out. But there's nothing really left to your interpretation as far as the ending is. It's oh, she survived and it's dead.
Yeah, yeah.
And but with this, it's she fought something. I don't know whether it's dead or whether there's another one or anything like that. And there's still that question in Alien as well. It's that can't be the only one. But the ambiguity in Alien is more what's all this shit we saw at the start? Okay, doesn't matter. We'll keep going with this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Someone called Perilous Pasta liked my post.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Good for that person.
I don't really have
So I thought it was well shot.
Yeah.
All the light seemed very natural, even though it couldn't be.
A lot of it, but
because it seemed very underlit, which made it feel more real. But you had stuff all the light looked like it was going through a prism, which is exactly the point. It was very colourful in that way, but not in an ugly, overlit Hollywood set, Marvel movie where everything's lit up like a Christmas tree, because if it isn't, then it doesn't look very pretty.
No.
Although then you had the opposite where it's that first action sequence in Black Panther was shot pretty much in the dark and I couldn't fucking see a thing. It's okay, I'm sure he's beaten them.
Yeah, I'm sure you're winning. Good
I'm
job.
sure he's winning. Well done.
You go, baby girl.
Him.
You go.
You keep punching him, dude. Flipping around.
Yeah, no.
Could have solved this in 5 seconds with a gun, but okay.
This is just the same scene over and over again, just with different.
You just explained the Marvel universe. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was very good. I hope we get more stuff like this that just turns up on Netflix.
Yeah, but
I don't necessarily want to watch it at cinema.
I want to watch. I would actually like to, because my TV's pretty big. My friend initially saw it in like a really small kind of display, and she went home and watched it again on her 4K TV because she's like, yeah, it just did nothing for me. I was just like, it's very exciting, but I would like to watch the visuals in a better quality screen. I think if it came out in cinemas, I would still pay money to go see it.
Oh yeah.
But like I'm still happy with.
But
Netflix.
I'm saying, like, if this is how this sort of film is going to survive, because they're not confident, and I don't think it has made very much money in the cinemas in the US either. So, and I don't think they were expecting. I think they got what they expected, which is like $11 million, which isn't much.
It's not. Yeah,
that's not very much.
But like,
but I think the Netflix viewing figures will be very different because everybody just has access to it.
Yeah. Because sometimes with Netflix, it's simply just, it's there. Do you want to watch it? It's there,
exactly. That's the point. And I don't mind if they do that more, especially with this sort of film where it's very good.
It's very good, Ren.
Yeah, well, it is. That's the thing that's kind of interesting about it, because Alex Garland's other film that he's directed is Ex Machina, which is also really good. That was a cinema release, but limited. But that's got similar themes of like humanity and self-destruction, and then there's also like they kind of go into like the whole like, oh, you know, he's playing God sort of thing in this as well, but like who is playing God almost. Whereas in Ex Machina it's more directly this guy is kind of playing God, and that's what's his name's Oscar Isaac's character in Ex Machina.
Oscar Isaac's in Ex Machina?
Yes, he is. He's bald, but he's got a beard.
Yeah, well, he was also Apocalypse, and I didn't even realise.
Yeah, it's Purple Man.
He's not purple, he's blue. He's
purple. I think he's both. He might be both.
We had this argument about Thanos as well. You were like, he's
it
blue.
Wasn't Thanos, it was Vision.
Oh,
I said he was purple, and you said he was like maroon, and then we found out he's both.
Yeah. No, we had this chat.
He's got purple parts.
We
had
this chat about Thanos because I have a picture of Thanos where I photoshopped him so he looked blue.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, he's purple.
And I'm like, no, he's blue.
And
I'm like, no, he's Joss Whedon.
And then you had a look and it's like, oh, he's purple.
He's Joss Whedon.
He is.
It's so weird. He looks so much like him. I'm like, was this intentional or like unintentional? I don't fucking know.
But yeah, that was that.
I don't. The thing about this film is like it's very clear we like it. I guess there's stuff to talk about it, but I don't really have a super I'm passionate about it. But I don't
if
have
you
a strong
talk about
opinion.
it too much, it's like, okay, why should I watch it?
Yeah,
because I think it's best because I saw the trailer a while ago and I kind of forgot everything that was in the trailer.
I saw the trailer and I was like, yes, I'm totally down for this. I love Natalie Portman.
See, the thing is as well, I liked her in this, but I don't usually like her.
I don't mind her. I didn't mind her in Thor.
I thought she was terrible. Like she was,
Why?
not that she was terrible, but there's like nothing for her to do.
What about Black Swan?
She's outshone by Mila Kunis. That's the problem. Like
That is true.
The thing is about Natalie Portman is like everybody loved her in Black Swan. And I'm like, but that's a Natalie Portman character, the character that cries and carries on and is a bit of a brat, almost, and then goes nuts.
I'm trying to think about what else. The only other one I can think of is Friends with Benefits, and that's not good.
The thing I always remember her doing is crying. Almost all the time in
like
every
Anne
movie.
Hathaway.
That's what she does. She just cries. She just cries really well. That's what I think of Natalie Portman. She's like, but in this there was more to her because she was a bit tougher.
Yeah, she was
a bit more interesting.
She's a cadet.
Because before this, I thought her best performance when she was about 11 with Leon the Professional, which is a Jean Reno film, and she's great in it. Like this little kid who's a bit of a shit.
But it could be just that they've only just cast her in those films, and she finally got a chance
for
to do
ages she was
else.
tied with the brush of being Padme in Star Wars, which the prequels was shit, and she had nothing. Like there's nothing she could do about it as well.
I did. Oh, actually, speaking of that, I went back and watched. I don't know why I watched the prequels. Don't give me that look. I just thought, you know what, maybe
it's so agonizingly painful to watch.
Well, I did skip through a lot because I'd be watching it and
it's so boring.
Well, yeah. See, I have this really bad habit because I like to watch movies on my computer and not on my. If I watch it on my TV, I force myself to watch the whole thing. But then if I'm watching it on my computer, I'll literally like on Netflix. It's not on Netflix. What was I watching it on? Something. I can't. I have too many. I was watching it. Oh, no, I don't have a DVD. And then I would just be like, shmoop.
Yeah.
like skip through the first like a bit, like maybe 10 minutes, and then I'll be like, oh no, it's still boring. So
Yeah.
and it just kept happening. So what was a 2-hour movie essentially took me maybe 45 minutes to watch. That's really bad. But because I was just, there was only some really good scenes where it was like.
So I can summarize episode 1 for you in stuff that's viewable.
Yeah.
You fast forward to the pod race. You watch that. Then you fast forward to the saber fight between Darth Maul and the other two.
Was it
And
I can't remember.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
And Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And then you turn the movie off after that. And it's actually, I think, mostly for the music. Like, if John Williams didn't still do the score for all the films, they would be so much worse, even, because his music's fantastic.
Imagine if it's just like some pixelated 8-bit music in the background. It's like, dun, 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 dun. Look, and you're like, fuck me.
It'd match the special effects.
You know what? Because I watched the A New Hope. Is it called A New Hope? No.
Hang on, are you talking about the old...
The original 3.
Yeah, so that
New
was...
Hope, Attack of the Clones.
No, not Attack of the Clones. The Empire Strikes Back.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Return of the Jedi.
What was Attack of the Clones from?
That's the second prequel.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
That's actually probably the worst.
So I watched the 3, and then I was like, oh, okay, like these are pretty cool. And then I watched the first 3 as I did, and I was like, how are the effects worse?
Yeah, they are.
How? Like,
because
I was just really confused.
all of it's green screen.
It's real. I thought, because I was watching it and I was like,
the third film, I don't think there's a shot in it which was shot like on location. I think it was all done in studio. The second one, there was still a few things, and episode 1, there was like still a good deal of it, but the third one is.
But you know what the best part of the 3 films are?
What?
The changing hairstyles.
Yeah.
Of
so they go from
Obi-Wan
and
Anakin, and I'm just like, how? What? Why? Like, I'm like, I understand they're trying
mullets are fabulous.
So bad. But like, Ian McGregor, I like saw him in Moulin Rouge and all that. I really love him. But like,
he's one of my favorite parts of the prequels.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was really great, but the first episode, I was actually like, oh my god, who did your character design?
Yeah,
fuck,
it's dull. But I mean, the thing is, like, the first film, even he doesn't seem as comfortable in the role, and I think it's because of a lot of pressure. But
I think he looks more comfortable towards the second,
and
where
third film.
He's a bit older.
He looks like he's realised it's a pile of shit, and he's just going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
because he's getting paid a fuckload of money.
Yeah,
and the other one that I love, and I think the person I love the most in those films is the Emperor.
Oh yeah,
especially in the third film when he just decides, I'm not even gonna like try to make this believable. I'm gonna be as insane as I possibly can and make this look utterly ridiculous. And it makes it so much more watchable because he's hilarious. His fight with Yoda is fucking hilarious.
I'd probably skip through that.
The whole bit with when Samuel L. Jackson comes to like arrest him.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many memes because people don't call him Palpatine, or even they call him Sheev sometimes because that's apparently his first name, and it's a ridiculous name. But most people refer to him as the Senate because that's his line, "I am the Senate," and then they just go, "Okay." And then immediately after he does that, he makes the weirdest fucking noise I've ever heard and spins through the air. And it's just hilarious watching an old man like flip around, obviously special effects.
Yeah.
And it's terrible.
Yeah. Well,
and then there's like shots of his face mid like lightsaber fight, which is so awkward, and it's like the editor went, "That's staying in."
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, I just remember I watched, what was the third one called? I don't know any of
Revenge
their
of the
names.
Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
It's the most watchable one.
Well, that's the thing. I watched it in cinemas, and it confused me because I had seen the original trilogy, and then I'm like, is there another Darth Vader now?
No.
And I was
it's
really
set
confused.
before.
Because, you know, when you're like, what?
You just think they make sequels.
Yeah, like I was like 7.
Yeah.
And so I was really confused, and I was watching it, and then like I just see like they're attacking Palpatine, I say, and then he gets like really old really quickly.
That was the other stupid thing, because it's like he should have just ended that film the way he started, and then just aged over the period between the films.
Yeah.
But they felt like he has to look like the Emperor by the end of this film. He'll just go lightning, and it'll get turned on him, and he'll just suddenly degrade.
Yeah, that's what confused me. And then
it's
he was
so
all
dumb.
And I was just like, when you're a young kid, and I'm like, oh, is that how aging works? Fuck. He'll be young forever until he gets struck by by a ball lightning. But yeah, I was watching it and I was getting really confused. And then like Anakin lost his foot or hand or something, and then he caught on fire.
He loses both of his legs and his arm, and then he catches on fire.
Yeah, like he's just like I was just watching this and I'm like really confused. And then like obviously he becomes Darth Vader, and then it doesn't click that it's a prequel. So I'm just like, oh hey, Darth Vader's back.
There's another one.
Okay, and then so for the longest period of time, I thought there was Darth Vader and Dark Vader. So when I went to, oh god, this is really embarrassing. But when
I wouldn't put it past Disney to like make another one, just to make another, just so they could use it.
They did Kylo Ren.
No, but like, he's actually different.
I know. If they fuck up Kylo Ren, I'm gonna be so heartbroken because he's such a good character. Him and Rey, chemistry is like beautiful.
JJ's really good at like starting the movie off, and he did that well with The Force Awakens, and then Rian Johnson didn't want to do any of the shit he would need to, like, no, not Rogue One, for Last Jedi. Just why so many people were pissed off that he threw out so much of the stuff that was kind of set up. I don't care.
What was set up?
Snoke, I think, was supposed to be more important. Rey being no one, although I still think that's...
Rey being what?
Nobody in particular. Like, she's not related to anybody who's important. Well, people would like, maybe she's Luke's daughter, or maybe she's like Obi-Wan's daughter. Or
I
something
thought
like
maybe
that.
most likely Obi-Wan's daughter.
I thought that was more like, but I don't care. And the thing is like, then it'd just be a retread of the original completely. Almost like, it's like, oh, everybody's related again.
Yay!
Somehow.
Fucking stuff.
Why is the Skywalker family and all that
I like
so powerful?
I like the idea of Rey being like a bit of a black sheep.
But that's kind of, and the thing is I don't know how much they're gonna, like, if they wanted to backtrack that and like turn her into somebody, I don't know how much they could do of that, because like Rian Johnson pretty much sets up that like it's not a family thing necessarily. It's just anybody has it sometimes, because that little boy at the end of the film when he's like just sweeping, he just has it. He's not related to any like lineage or anything like that. He just is.
Well, that's what I thought. That's what I thought the Force was. I thought
that's
like if you have family, you can
and that like
pass it,
I
but
mean,
it's not like
we're going into the Last Jedi territory again because we've already done this. But I just don't understand some of the criticism of it, because it's very. It's not that it completely retreads the Empire Strikes Back, but the Empire Strikes Back is rated as the best Star Wars film, and it's got quite a few similarities in some of the things they probably would have been complaining about in the same way, because the Emperor's introduced in the Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. And he's not in the first film much. I think he might be in a hologram, actually. That
just one little.
Yeah, like I think he talks to Vader. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember. Yeah. Actually no, I don't think he's in the first one. He's not in the first one at all.
I do not remember.
We hear about him, and then the second one, he's in a hologram, and he's kind of, I think, seen a couple of times through that way. And then at the end of the Return of the Jedi, we see him in person, and then there's a whole battle, and then Vader chucks him off the thing, and he dies. And if you disregard the prequels entirely, which you would have had to if you were born or you were growing up around that time when those three films were released, you didn't know anything about him either. He was evil because he was evil.
He's evil because that's how
and that's
Star Wars
what
works.
Snoke is.
Yeah.
Snoke's just evil.
I think,
and it doesn't really matter who he is.
Yeah, because I know like a lot of films they want to do this thing now where they're just like, oh, well, all the characters are ambiguous.
That's what I hate about, like, Star Wars isn't the place to do ambiguity.
Star Wars is just good, and it's a battle between good and evil.
But that's what I hate about the extended universe stuff. It's like every character has to have their thing, and some characters just aren't that interesting. No. I'm sorry, Ant-Man.
I was thinking Rose from Star Wars. So I was just like, oh, you had to kill us.
Yeah, Rose is an interesting.
Wait, who's not interesting in freaking Marvel?
Black Panther's not particularly interesting.
I like Shuri though. Shuri's adorable.
His sister.
Yeah. She's just cool. So cheeky.
She was a more interesting character than he was.
I was gonna say
he was boring.
Although my favorite scene is in Civil War, where like after they've locked all the Avengers up, and then Ant-Man's there, and then Tony Stark's like, "Who are you?" Yeah. And I'm like, wow, that just sums up everything.
It just sums up Iron Man. He's like, "Fuck you."
Who the fuck are you?
I don't give a shit. But like, it's like, imagine if they made a War Machine movie. It's like, who cares? Imagine if they made a Vision movie. It'd suck. Scarlet Witch, who cares? Even Black Widow, I really wouldn't give a shit about a movie.
Black Widow, I feel like the only thing about her is that she's just been there since the beginning.
Yeah, but that's fine. she's fine being there in the films
Yeah.
alongside the bigger characters.
Yeah, well, because the thing is, Tony Stark, Captain America, they've got like very, very defining personalities.
And like themes and
and polarizing things and
Yeah.
all that. The issue with like Black Widow, I just feel like
she's very one-dimensional.
yeah, like sorry, I love ScarJo, but yeah,
she can fight really well.
yeah. Well, I wrote a blog post about the characters I thought were going to pass away in Infinity Wars, which we technically will not find out till 2019 because fuck Harry Potter. Thanks for introducing a 2-part everything. They started that thing.
But now she's gone further, and it's like a 5-part.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
Piece of crap.
No.
Did you see the trailer for that? It looks awful.
Let's still
Part
watch it.
2.
You
It
know
looks
what?
so
You know what's really
bad.
bad? I don't have the heart to tell my friends that it's not as good as what they think. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I liked Fantastic Beasts.
I don't have a problem with people liking it. I'm just like, I just don't like it. So
I know.
don't tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People like rave
I
about it,
do
and
not
I'm just
like
sitting
it.
there like it's like people raved about Black Panther to me, and then I went and watched it, and then they were really shocked and not angry, but like a bit like taken aback when I was like, it's alright, like it's not.
It's fine.
It's fine. Like it does what it needs to do. I just don't think it's exceptional from anything else that Marvel's
It's not
put out.
worthy of awards.
Yeah. And then people got upset. They're like, oh, what about the cast and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but if you're watching something purely based on the cast or the type of cast members they have, then it's kind of a juxtaposition to
I thought it was
what-
very actually
Yeah.
silly, some of the way that what people were going on about, because like lots of people, like I heard, I can't remember what interview, like it was a place, one of those places, not BuzzFeed for once, it's one of the other ones.
Vice.
And it was like, oh no, I
Pedestrian.
don't think it was Vice or Pedestrian. It was an American one, but I can't.
Raincar.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I read
But
a
it
lot of
was like-
trash.
No, but it was like it had this. It was a video, and it was like a woman going, I was a black woman, and she was like, I'm so glad to see black culture on screen, and I'm like,
There's a lot of...
no, but like, one, it's not the first time it's been on screen. I'm like, two, this isn't real black culture.
Yeah.
It's a fake. It's not actually. It's an alternate history sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like if this happened, then
That
but
would be this.
at the
and
same
this would
time,
be
it's
that.
like, what exactly is black culture specifically? Like, African American culture is different to African culture,
Yeah.
and in Africa, there's a lot of different cultures there as well. It's like they're not all the same thing.
No.
That's actually racist.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I said, like, it's weird because racism is judging someone based on their race alone.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and then you're watching this film because it has a cast of colour.
Yeah.
Which is kind of,
Weird.
it contradicts
Well,
itself.
that's exactly. But
Anyways,
it's not just that, but they seem to think that that's black culture.
a good, yeah. Well, I think it's like, well, the one issue I had with the film was like, Killmonger, I know we shouldn't be talking about Black Panther, but Killmonger said all this stuff like we could be saving all the blacks around the world and blah, 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 all the people of colour
It's like,
around
you know,
the world.
he's racist,
But
right?
I'm like, you're not, it's like, I'm not the same as Korean and Korean's not the
Yeah.
same as Japanese. So why would you say that, you know, the people of colour from
Well, it's like, you know,
Africa is going to be the same as people of colour from India? Or like, that's stupid.
it's like, you know, the French Americans and English Australians, they're not all the same.
No,
sorts
they're
of people.
not. Like, I think it's just like a bit of a, it's like, this is a racial moment you couldn't tell because you were so swept up with the concept of, like,
Yeah.
just having an all-star cast with people of color. Like, it just, yeah, I think just people need to think a bit more about, like, anyways,
Like,
that's
thought-
just me.
like, it's like the performances were good.
Yeah,
they
no,
were
they were
fine,
fine.
but they were good for characters that weren't that interesting. And I've seen every member of that cast, except for I think the lead,
yeah,
in better films,
yeah.
playing better roles.
Oh,
You
I know. I
like,
love
Michael B. Jordan is so much better in Creed. Same director, by the way.
What was that? Oh, I can't remember the actor.
And
that-
race doesn't even get brought up in Creed.
No.
It's not an issue. It's not a part of it. It's
I think
just,
we should stop bringing up race for anything. Like,
Yeah.
we should just do what we need to
it's
do.
just
like,
about competence. Like,
yeah.
you know, if they're good actors. I mean, I understand in Black Panther it's a bit different because they have to be.
From
like,
Wakanda.
I also thought, isn't it redundant to call him Black Panther? Panthers are black. Call
Just
him
Panther.
the Panther or something.
No, but like, I don't. Man, I don't know. Fucking hell, I ain't no politician.
We don't call him Black Batman. They're all like in the night. You just see stuff. What are we gonna like? We're gonna have Blade and call him Black Blade? No, because he's Blade. He doesn't walk in, and the most important thing about him is that he's black. He's a vampire hunter. He doesn't give a shit.
Spider-Man's like Black Spider-Man. Oh, well, there is
like
black,
White Spider-Man.
White Spider-Man. Daddy Long-Legs Spider-Man.
Tarantula Man. They don't put a specific.
No.
He doesn't actually have 8 legs. Because that would be fucking weird.
Imagine if you just like gross him out. That's too much.
That'd be like a body horror version of Spider-Man, where it's
Centipede.
actually
Human centipede version.
it's actually horrifying to watch. Like, that's what Fantastic Four was supposed to be. The new one. It was supposed to be pretty much like a body horror science fiction.
Excuse
film.
me?
Yeah, and you can tell. And there's some really horrifying stuff in it.
What? I didn't know about this.
Well, it was a shit movie because the
Well, I didn't watch it.
the producers interfered to the point where it just compromised the whole movie. But there's some like horrifying shit in that film. Like
thanks.
the fact that the Thing isn't like constant pain because he's made of rock and stuff like that now. Or like Stretch, is it? What's his name? Dr. Stretchy Man.
I thought it was just Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic, that's it. He like can't control his limbs to start with because he just doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I think the Human Torch actually feels the burns.
Lovely.
Like that. And then you've got like when Doctor Doom turns up,
Yeah.
he's like walking down a hallway and people's heads are exploding.
Why?
Because he's making them do that. And it's not so much like you could cut around that and it wouldn't be that traumatizing. It's actually the way they do it is kind of terrifying because it's like mostly one shot and it like cuts around a bit. But
Yeah.
then you have stuff like there's like a soldier, he's like caught in between Doom and like a firing squad about the fire, and he's like so freaked out and terrified that like you can hear him screaming, and then he just like splats, and then there's like everybody there just like about to shoot, and then they realize they can't do anything, and then they freak out and it's actually it's actually creepy and frightening.
Wow,
and
I didn't know. I thought it was some really family-friendly fun time.
If they had just let Josh Trank do what he was going to do, it would have been like one of the most interesting superhero films I think ever made. Because it wouldn't have resembled a superhero film at all.
Wow.
It would have been like a horror movie.
Wow.
Like that New Mutants film. Just kind of, it's X-Men, but it looks like a fucking horror movie.
I don't like horror films. I don't want to talk about this. I was just going to say I don't like Scarlet Witch, and I think she's a redundant character, but I guess we're talking about body horror now.
Yeah.
How much time are we on?
We're on an hour, so we can probably
wrap it up.
Wrap it.
So, what's...
Shout out to Noran.
Ah.
Because you're pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I miss you, Noran. Come back to Australia.
Exactly. I agree.
We have some, I was going to say Black Batmans.
Black Batman?
No, you just said Black Batmans. I was going to say Daddy Long Legs. What's next on our...
I don't know.
We have this problem. Everyone's like, what's
Actually,
next?
there's one film I really want to see, but I just don't know whether I'm going to be able to see it in the next 2 weeks. It's called The Death of Stalin, and it looks hilarious.
Let me see.
Looks very funny. It's by the director of In the Loop and various other political comedies, like Veep as well.
By the way, I saw Jumanji.
How was it?
It's actually not the worst.
Yeah, I heard good things.
Yeah, like... I don't know if it's because I walked in with low expectations or whatever, but I came out. I didn't. I watched it on. Did I watch it on Netflix? No, I actually watched it in cinemas. I'm lying to myself. Sorry, I'm just like completely just all over the place. Obviously, yeah, and it's actually kind of enjoyable. Like I didn't cringe. I didn't go, oh god, why? And the actors were decent. The Rock is always like
he's
pretty
charismatic.
Fun.
Anyway, yeah, that's one film I want to see. And
let's see what's available. No, this is old shit. Hang on.
I just know there's not a whole lot coming out.
I think not next week, but the week after, we'll probably be able to see Infinity Wars because it comes out April 25th. Oh, wait, not next week. Week after that.
That's still a little while to go.
Still a little while.
It's about just under a month.
Yeah, it's just under. There's.
So we'll do that.
A Wrinkle in Time.
No.
It looks so shit. Sorry.
Apparently it is.
Like, I actually was like, how did the same company that did, like, all the other good Disney films that I can't name because they're that good. No, you know, every time someone says Disney, all I can think about is like the old school Renaissance Disney,
Yeah.
which is like Cinderella, Snow White.
So you got like
Movie.
that period ages ago, and then you got like the 90s,
Yeah,
where it was briefly good as well.
and then it just got weird.
And it's got
People liked Moana.
shit. Marijuana.
Moana.
Oh, Moana. Okay.
And like Frozen.
Coco.
Coco was good. I've got. Talking about game night.
Oh god.
Oh, we've got Love, Simon. Not until
That
20.
looks lame.
Apparently, it's very good.
Sure.
Pacific Rim, Uprising,
Looks shit.
Ready Player One.
Also looks shit.
That looks actual. Sherlock Gnomes.
That's definitely shit.
That's probably a Tomb
Anyway,
Raider.
we'll-
Anyways, we'll
we'll get
figure
back to you.
it out.
We'll get back to you.
Oh,
We'll
good.
finish it. Okay.
Yep.
Done.
Bye.
Bye.